Previously on Dragon Ball Z.
Alice found herself in a strange mansion with no memories, ended back at work on her day off, met some new friends, lost some new friends, fought some zombies in hand-to-hand combat, unlocked a new super spin move, beat up on her ex-husband, clocked out of work with her favorite coworker, lost her favorite coworker, only to find herself in a strange hospital with no one around. What will happen next? While the previous film may have been stuck in production hell for years, this sequel started production about a year later, sometime in late 2003 after being greenlit in April of that year. The first film overall did not too bad, drawing a domestic box office of 40 million and an international box office of 63 million, giving the sequel an increased budget from the first movie's 33 million to a now 50 million budget. Anderson would return to write the script, but would decline to direct this one. Instead, it would fall to the shoulders of a man named Alexander Witt. Alex, can I call you Alex? Alex had directed a total of 0 films before this one, but he did have some prior knowledge working as a second unit director under some okay titles, such as Remember the Titans, Black Hawk Down, Gladiator, and some heavy hitting titles such as Daredevil and Inspector Gadget. Anderson was too tied up in his PG-13 Alien movie, but was happy to write the script for the sequel, originally titled, and I know it's going to be a shocker, Resident Evil Nemesis. Star Trek is a bigger property and had a movie coming out titled Star Trek Nemesis, so they got bullied into changing the name to Apocalypse. Anderson was given a bit more free rein in his writing here and decided to create a collage of homages, if you would, drawing inspiration from James Cameron movies and John Carpenter films, with the major plot points being from the game it was going to be named after. The basic plot outline of Resident Evil 3 has survivor Jill Valentine escaping an infested Raccoon City and coming across a colorful cast of characters, with one of the most iconic villains in the series.
Stars.
The movie starts with a recap from Alice, but let's be honest, mine was a little better. We're technically still not caught up to the final shot of the first movie, but we do get to see life in Raccoon City before the outbreak, and see how the outbreak even started in this universe. If I'm not mistaken, I think they mentioned something about reopening the Hive in the last movie, and if they did, I'll throw that clip somewhere around here.
We're reopening the Hive. I want to know what went on down there.
Already we're off to a faster pace than the first movie, quickly moving around and jumping around places. Umbrella as a corporation also has a stronger role and comes across with a lot more weight than before. Right away, we're introduced to one of the key characters of this movie, Charles Ashford. That's right, the Ashford family is in this movie, and while he doesn't have twins, he does have a daughter named Angela. Charles is a high priority for Umbrella to evacuate because he's the one who created the T-Virus. Spoilers. He doesn't want to leave without his daughter, but he just sent her to school. Umbrella has it all under control though. All under control. Some time passes and we get one of the best parts of this movie, Jill Valentine. Oh, and Lloyd.
You can call me LJ.
The casting for Jill is chef's kiss. And they even threw in the RE3 outfit. What more could you want? Jill's casting and even the inclusion of the character was a bit topical, as Shinji Mikami was pretty protective of this character and wasn't sure about including her in the film franchise due to the chance of alienating fans because of it. However, Sienna Guillory won over Mikami and test audiences alike. Now, you could also see the inclusion of Jill as pandering, especially after the main complaint of the first movie having no RE characters, which ironically does seem to be a main point of criticism for this movie. You just can't win. I mean, it can come across as very throwing a lot of references to make the nerds happy. You get an outside shot of the RPD, the little green vest that Chris and co wear, and an almost one-to-one shot of the Resident Evil 3 intro, and a long list of other things. So it can come across as a bit too much, but I don't mind it. Speaking of the costumes, I think Mary McLoy did a great job bringing the Resident Evil fashion to life, even if it does look a bit costumey, but cheesy is kind of the name of the game. Back to the topic of Jill, while she has the looks down, character-wise, it's a big departure from the Jill of the games. The Jill here comes across a lot more, what's the word? Mean? Well, we're finally caught up on the timeline and see Alice is now a Terminator. Umbrella flexes some more power, showing how they were able to both quarantine and barricade an entire city without any outside involvement. And I see you, 2000 hair guy, you're not slick. Then finally, we get some zombies on screen, but the zombie scenes in this movie are weirdly edited. I thought this kind of stutter shot was just gonna be one scene, but it happens again and again and again. It's just oddly distracting. We're also introduced to Carlos and Nikolai, who is a good guy in this one, which I think kind of reinforces the whole pandering thing because Nikolai was never good. Carlos, being the good natured guy he is, tries to save this lady, but ooh, yeah.
There's no going back.
No!
Oh, shit.
Jill arrives at the wall and finds her partner. That's not Barry. Where's Barry, dammit? Peyton gets bit and Umbrella tells everyone to scram, which brings us back to Carlos and company. Then back to some family drama. What a very committed papa.
You're too important to Umbrella to be put at risk.
I'm not leaving without my daughter.
Charles decides to take matters into his own hands and finds the location of his daughter. Now, if only he could find some mutants. By the way, this scene is just absolutely bonkers. He has the technology to search for life signals in a city and find the corresponding cameras. Guys, crazy cracked. Alice does some thrifting and Charles finds even more X-Men. The church sequence is one of my favorite sequences of the movie. It's this drawn out look around down these long empty hallways with lookers lurking around, and it just feels so Resident Evil to me. Oh, this is Gail Weathers, by the way. She's in one of the first scenes of the movie, but The only thing that bugs me about this is the liquor vision. It feels too much like a predator and less like a licker, since they really can't see according to the game lore, and it's more through hearing. But I guess this ties in more with the whole biowarfare thing they got going on in this movie universe. Also, I saw someone say these don't count as zombies, and it's actually some sort of bioweapon that just looks like a zombie. Shut up. Alice crashes the party and does what Alice does. Really cool shit.
Move.
The Alice problems of the first movie are still here, and even more apparent. I think the real problem lies with Alice is kind of like, you know, back in the day when you used to play outside with your friends and you had that one friend that everything revolved around? It's basically that. No one can be cooler than Alice. Even Jill says,
"Those were some pretty slick moves back there. I'm good, but I'm not that good."
oh, now time for one of my favorite scenes as we return to Carlos and company. This guy right here. I too love throwing a grenade at only 3 zombies. Jill and Alice end up in a face-off cause Peyton is infected, but then she says this.
It's nothing personal, but in an hour, maybe 2, you'll be dead.
Now, Alice, don't make me look up how long it took Rain to transform cause that sure as hell wasn't an hour or 2. Was it? Being in a cemetery, zombies were bound to happen, so Alice decides to beat up on zombies while they make Minecraft sounds. Umbrella Guy decides he wants to test out his new toy, and I was a little excited, a tiny bit excited. Nemesis can't be without his equipment, so they airdrop him supplies. Now, give me the line.
No! Don't leave!
That's not it, but okay. Nikolai's actor here does his best, but the accent does break a lot, like a lot.
Why didn't they see us? The chopper.
Thought you might need a hand.
Save the girl! I've got this beach. We need evacuation!
We reunite with LJ, who serves as the comedic relief for the movie, but in my opinion, Carlos is a little bit funnier.
When were you bitten?
3 hours ago.
What the?
Then we finally get to see Nemesis in action. Let's just be upfront about things. He does look a little small, and it seems I wasn't the only one who thought that, as a few people found him to look a little small on screen, so to combat that, they have Nemesis walking past cars to show he's actually pretty tall. I also gotta give them props for going more of a practical route for Nemesis. It seems we have this man right here, Paul Jones, to thank, as he was opposed to an all-CG Nemesis. Thanks, Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul.
Big shout out to Matthew G. Taylor, the man in this big ass suit, which I'm sure was incredibly hot to be in while filming. Nemesis is equipped with all the stuff you associate him with, a minigun, and his good old handy rocket launcher. After tanking a few shots, he cleanly wipes out the remaining STARS members using a minigun that somehow misses LJ. Then we get it in all its glory.
Stars.
A little too fast, I think. Just let it sink in a little, you know. Way better than Darkside Chronicles, though. Alice gets a call, and it's time for everyone to finally group together. First, we need to make plans at a tram so everyone can go, ooh, like the game. Peyton isn't agreeing, and Alice decides to drop the big reveal.
According to Ashford Umbrella, no, they can't contain the infection. So at sunrise this morning, Raccoon City will be completely sanitized. Precision tactical nuclear device.
What yield?
5 kilotons.
Fuck me.
What does that mean?
Look, I don't know about you, but I don't think you need to ask what that means, because 5 kiloton just sounds like a lot, dumbass. Look, more references! Nemesis shows up again for a longer fight, and I think this could be a fair criticism, as Nemesis is always tied to Jill, so it feels a little weird to see him not care for her and strictly go for Alice. In the context of the film, it makes sense, but that doesn't make it feel any less wrong. Ooh, I always did hate this part. Jill finally gets some solo time to shine and has to deal with her dead partner who just got shot at. May Peyton rest in peace. The team finally arrives at the school and, like any good group, split up. LJ partners up with Carlos and zombie kids. Daddy down! Angela is finally found, and yes, I think one of my favorite zombie designs from the movies are zombie dogs. I originally had wrote something down about how cool they looked in the first movie, but I didn't record it and had finished the video by then. The cool thing about the dogs in this film is it's a mixture of real dogs, animatronics, and rubbers. The dogs ended up licking off the makeup they had on, so there was less applied this time around, and were only around for a day of shooting. For Nikolai's death, they used animatronic dogs so they can nail down the dog's mouth moving, and the rubber one was used when Jill hits one with the fire extinguisher. Again, Jill doesn't really get time to shine here, as first she's saved by Nikolai, and then finally saved by Alice. But you know what time it is, there's only so much runtime left, so hit me with a twist, Alice.
She's infected.
Your turn, Angela.
Because she is too.
Like the spoiler I mentioned earlier, Angela's dad created the T-Virus as a way to help his daughter who couldn't walk, I believe. Either way, she was really sick and potentially dying. As we know, the T-Virus brings those cells back to life, so in Angela's case, it makes her more human, I guess. As for Alice, it's because she's a mutant now or something. I told you earlier, Anderson wrote this with a lot of homages in mind, and one in particular was aliens. Anderson also wanted to create a dynamic like Ripley and Newt from Alien, but buddy, we got 30 minutes left. They will, however, do the same thing to Angela as Newt.
That's rough, buddy.
Angela is loaded on antivirus, which means Carlos can live. Everyone's happy, if only Peyton could have lasted a little bit longer. With the mission complete, it's time to evacuate, if only it could ever be that easy.
To me, my X-Men.
Computers. So unreliable.
The team minus Alice make their way to the helicopter, while Alice is somehow already on top of the building. I don't know if this is cool, I'm just so unsure. Alice beats some goons up and...
You missed one.
I swear I've seen that before. Everything's all clear, but it's a trap. Instead, everyone gets tied up and Alice is forced to duel with Nemesis in hand-to-hand combat. In case it wasn't abundantly clear, Nemesis and Alice are linked with the way both wake up mirroring each other. I still don't forgive you for not dropping Nemesis in at some point like Mr. X. Oh yeah, Nemesis is Matt, by the way. Because of that, Alice refuses to fight, and so the Umbrella guy is like, fine, you don't want to fight? I'm gonna shoot the scientist who's way more valuable to me than you to show you a lesson. That'll teach you. Alice and Nemesis fight, but things get a little too emotional and things take a turn. Nemesis decides to help out Alice, and again, this feels wrong, but it fits the movie, but still feels really wrong. Alice runs off on a side mission while the background characters deal with the background characters. But what if we did another reference to the games? Okay. But where's Barry? Zombies break in and Nemesis dies to a helicopter, so I'm just saying, OG Nemesis, no diss movie Nemesis. Alice drops a pretty cold line.
Killing me won't put things right.
No! But it's a start!
And Umbrella Man gets eaten by the man he shot. Poetic justice, some might say. With everyone safe, all that's left to do is brace for impact as the nuke hits Raccoon City. You know, they could have easily just flown to the sunset, but I like this, I guess, realistic depiction, but I think if this is what?
5 kilotons.
Y'all be dead. Oh, wait. End of the movie. I wish so much. Look, if you just end it here, it's been kind of fun. Not the best, but not the worst. Instead, we end up back in a lab, and Alice is being repaired inside a medical machine from Dragon Ball Z. There's your payoff. Alice awakens again and slowly regains her memories and decides to leave and use psychic powers? What? How did we get here? Carlos and Jill show up alongside Angela, and the group decides to leave, but not before the tease that Alice isn't the Alice we know anymore. End of movie. This movie is really weird. On one hand, I like some of the stuff here. The cheese factor is overall okay, costumes look decent, Nemesis was fine, including characters from the game is always a plus, but I don't know, Alice just kind of overtakes everything. I wish she was just dialed back a little in terms of story importance, because it feels like the other characters are kind of useless unless Alice is there. Like, imagine here at the helicopter duel, instead of killing Xavier for whatever reason, he threw Jill into the ring and had Nemesis chase her or something until Alice realized it was Matt. I think that's where people's criticism of the references feeling very surface level come from, instead of feeling genuine. But from everything I've read, and there's even some commentary with the director that I was unable to get, but he seems pretty passionate about RE3, and same with Anderson. Anderson was even hoping people would go out and buy RE3 because of this movie, so I kind of respect that. But for all these references, why not give a little nod to Wesker or even Chris here? I also think this is where the series kind of starts to be pretty batshit crazy. This one is crazy, but at the end, I think it completely goes wild with the whole psychic thing. Like, why? I mean, at least it's fun. A little distraction. I really should get to work on Resident Evil 5, but I think there's something I have to do first.
It couldn't be controlled. Until now. At last, the beastly power has been harnessed.
Alice
has awoken. Now Cell will battle a warrior 11 years in the making on the next Dragon Ball Z.